Welcome to our 1940s movie night, our date night. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, we're going to be looking at all the music, books, movies, and food for the 1940s. And tonight, we have two special guests, a couple of friends that want to join in, the Morlangs and the Walls. They'll be joining us tonight through video. So we'll see you in a little bit for drinks. Appetizers are ready. Guess what? In the 1940s, hard-boiled eggs remained a popular appetizer. And hallelujah, gin is still the popular drink. And we are having our gin martinis again. So some things never change. All right,
cheers.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Tasty.
Very tasty. Love these gin martinis.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Morlang Cocktail Hour. This is what we do. We like to get dressed up. Today we're dressed up like the 1940s. I took some time to...
Take 37! You got it right!
It's true. And by the way, we're drinking something very special today. What is it?
Crown Royal XR, extra rare, which I think was made in the 1940s, I'm pretty sure.
This is really special.
It's actually, it's really smooth and it's really good. And
anyway.
During the pandemic, that's the only thing you have to do is drink. Go ahead.
Well, I took a little bit of time to fix my hair like they wore in the 1940s. What do you think, John?
I love your hair. I think it looks good. I think you ought to wear it all the time like that.
Well, they like to wear things in their hair, and they like to roll it away from their face, and they wear kind of long and a little bit curly. And also, I have on a very special fur jacket today, and guess who gave me this? My friend Sharon.
That's nice.
And this is just perfect for the 1940s.
Looks really good.
Yeah. A lot like they dressed and they wore the big gold jewelry, and anyway, it's a fun style.
I've got a little fun fact about the 1940s. My brother-in-law used to race stock cars. I was about 10 years old and helped him in his shop when he brought his stock car in there. It was a 1940 Ford Coupe that he raced. I thought that was pretty neat.
That's pretty neat.
So I got pictures. I'll show you guys sometime here.
Yeah.
All right.
So their clothes and their cars and their jewelry, everything pretty cool.
Yes.
Well, I think
It was a nice time.
I think we maybe ought to do this one more.
Yes. Thank you, Autumn. Thank you, Annie.
Hey, you guys have a great day today, and
Salute.
salute from the Morlang home. Bye, everybody.
It's happy hour at the Wall House, and we're going to be talking about the 1940s.
Oh yeah, that was a nice time.
Well,
After the war.
After the war, yeah, that's true. You know, fashion was, a lot of it was American designers had looked at Paris for fashion ideas, and then there were restrictions put on fashion. There wasn't leather, nylons were taken away. Women were drawing their nylons on with a eyebrow pencil going down the back of their leg for the seam. They needed the material for parachutes, for boots, and for uniforms for the war. But when it came to evening wear, it was still glamorous because a lot of the gowns, as you can see what I'm wearing, had a lot of beads and sequins, and so those went a long way. Furs were in. They carried over from year to year for women, and I'm wearing a beaver, not a beaver, but a lamb. Beaver was the one that was sought after. Lamb was the least expensive, and it ranged about $70 back then. So, which was a lot of money back in the 40s. Drinks, I'm having gin and tonic, was still popular. What have you got?
Rum and Coke.
And what was that song in 1946 by the Andrews Sisters?
That must have been Rum and Coca-Cola.
That was, they made that real famous. So rum and Coke, and there were a lot of drinks made with rum at that time. Movies, there were a lot of great movies that were out that time. One of our favorite was It's a Wonderful Life. And, you know, shoulder pads. Shoulder pads were in still. I have some on. Can you see? Anyway, we're having happy hour with the Montgomerys and with
Let's see, who else did
who are those other people?
Susan and
John.
yeah.
Yes,
We
more
invited
Lang. We're just
them.
kidding. We really know you. Anyway, cheers to Susan and John. Cheers to Lou and Autumn. And cheers to you, babe.
Are we gonna have some?
Oh, you want an hors d'oeuvre?
Well, of course.
Oh my gosh, check out these hors d'oeuvres.
Wait a minute.
What?
Deviled eggs? Those were the hors d'oeuvres then?
Yeah.
Well, how cool.
Yeah, you like deviled
All right.
eggs.
What?
You like deviled eggs.
I know, but I just didn't know when it all started.
Well, it started way back in, I think, the 20s.
When they had an egg.
Well, when they had chickens, too. I think.
Which one?
I don't know. Order them from the Sears catalog. See what comes first.
But it was before that. Oh, that's good. Okay, we're going to enjoy this.
Well, we've been enjoying happy hour. Can you tell? Anyway, cheers.
Bye-bye.
Well, appetizers were wonderful. Thank you again to the Moorlangs and to the Walls for joining us for our happy hour. Now, the music you were hearing, we were playing Sentimental Journey in our background. And the music back then was big band, jazz, and swing ring. Books popular in the 1940s. We had some very avant-garde writers at this time. This first one, Native Son by Richard Wright. It's a very difficult novel depicting the harsh, oppressive white race abuses. These abuses create a monster of a young man named Bigger Thomas. Bigger's horrific actions mirror back the ugly abuses laid down upon the black race. This novel put the revulsions of racism in full frontal focus. Next, we have The Heart is a Lonely Hunter by Carson McCullers. It's an unforgettable story that gives voice to the rejected, the forgotten, and the mistreated. Throughout this book, Mick Kelly, one of the characters, gives voice to the quiet, intensely personal search for beauty. Well-crafted novel about the human heart search for a better life. Next, we have A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. This is basically an autobiographical novel and a coming-of-age book about a young, sensitive, idealistic Franny Nolan and her bittersweet formative years in the slums of Williamsburg. It is an overwhelming, sublime, heartbreaking, and uplifting story filled with the daily experiences of the unforgettable Nolans, told with raw honesty and tenderly threaded family connections. Betty Smith. Next, we have 1984 by George Orwell. A rare work that grows more haunting as its futuristic purgatory becomes more real today. It is a nightmarish version of a totalitarian, bureaucratic world. The brilliance of the novel is Orwell's insight of modern life with the role of communication to distort the language. Orwell created such a thorough version of hell and one poor man's attempt to find individuality.
The Pearl, first published in 1947, follows a pearl diver and explores man's nature, as well as greed, defiance of social norms, and evil. Steinbeck's inspiration was the Mexican folklore, which he had heard in a visit to the formerly pearl-rich region of La Paz. dinner, we are having meat and potato patties. During World War II, when meat was rationed and had to be purchased with tokens, this recipe went along in feeding a family. To this day, I still reach for it whenever I want something different from regular hamburgers. By the way, children really liked this, just as I did when I was a child. And that quote is from Gladys Klein of Burlington, Wisconsin.
For dessert, a popular recipe was the gold nugget cake. So we decided to make one, and Lou's so happy that he gets to have some cake. So bon appetit. And we're ready to go to the movies. The first movie that we have picked, now we're not saying these are the best, but these are ones that we have picked on our top 5. The first one is Citizen Kane with Orson Welles. Following the death of publishing tycoon Charles Foster Kane, reporters scramble to uncover the meaning of his final utterance, Rosebud. We experience pieces of Kane's life from childhood to tragic end, and this film is noted for its camera angles, its sharp darkness, and its editing. Next, we have Gaslight. This is about a beautiful, innocent young woman, Ingrid Bergman, who marries a charming man, Charles Boyer, who tries to drive her insane. Gaslight is one of the greatest psychological thrillers ever made. Every time it comes on Turner Classic Movies, I make sure I see it. Thanks to Bergman's stellar and Oscar-winning performance, this was a success. The Grapes of Wrath, formerly the book in the 40s, now a movie in the 30s, now a movie in the 40s. This classic drama shows how the Great Depression affects one American family evicted from their Oklahoma farmhomes. They head west to seek work, but 2 died during the journey. In California, the family's deterioration continues as they live in poverty in migrant camps. Next, we have Fantasia, regarded by many as Walt Disney's masterpiece, featuring the work of the Disney studio artists and conductor Leopold Stokowski's musical arrangements. Mickey Mouse as the Sorcerer's Apprentice and Night on Bald Mountain are the standout pieces. And then we have A Wonderful Life. Oh, this is such a heartwarming, wonderful movie that teaches us that sometimes when we are discouraged and think our life is not worth much, it actually does mean a lot and has touched so many others. It started off not as a Christmas classic, but just as a movie to depict that very thing of your life is worth so much. When it first came out, there were not many people who thought that this was a very good movie, and there were movie critics have said there's 89 mistakes within it. Of course, I haven't really noticed, but this is a wonderful movie, and it is about a wonderful life. And our pick for tonight is the most wonderful and famous Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. One of the most beloved American films, this captivating wartime adventure of romance and intrigue from director Michael Curtiz defies standard categorization. Rick Blaine, Humphrey Bogart, is a world-weary ex-freedom fighter who runs a nightclub in Casablanca during the early part of World War II. Despite pressure from local authorities, notably the crafty Captain Renault, who's played by Claude Rains, Rick's Cafe has become a haven for refugees looking to purchase illicit letters of transit, which will allow them to escape to America. One day, she walks in. Rick's true love, who deserted him when the Nazis invaded Paris. Ilsa, played by Ingrid Bergman, is involved in a triangle of love set in the backdrop of Nazi hate and patriot freedom. Well, that's it for us tonight. How about you, Lou?
Well, I think I'm gonna go off to the pool now.
Off to the pool again before the movie.
And when two lovers meet, they still say I love you.
Bye.